Turn off the lights.
Hey everyone, Random Randy here. This is Yarn Talk episode 47. The actual Yarn Talk is going to be fairly short because everything I've been working on in this past week has been kind of big-ish projects, so I don't have a lot of things to show, although I do have quite a bit of progress to show. And I only have 2 active whips and no acquisitions. As you can see, I have a slightly different backdrop. In this video, there's some yarn up yonder, and I've rearranged the craft room all over again because that's what I do every few months when I get sick of the clutter. I just shuffle everything. First of the 2 things that I have finished is just a plain old granny square. I made this with what was left of my Red Heart Super Saver Bright Stripes after making the Insomnia hat, and I believe it's either 10 inches or 12 inches. What I want to do with this is I want to line it on one side and I want to make it into a purse pretty much by folding it like an envelope. I don't know how well I'll be able to hold it so that you'll be able to see what I mean, but having it folded, seam it here, and then have this top part attached with probably a button, something like that. And then just add a strap. I thought that would make a really cool bag, and I think I might do that with quite a few of my partial skeins that I have left, because it's not really small enough to be scrap. It's big enough for 2 or 3 amigurumis, and I don't really want to make that many all in the same color all at once. So this might be something that I do for a little bit, because I have a lot of random fabric in my closet that whatever the intended project was, it is long forgotten. Most of them are not stored with the pattern that I plan to use it for, if I had an intended pattern printed out or purchased already anyway. So yeah, trying to decrease my fabric stash primarily because I don't use it really that much, and I'm trying to do as much crafting without getting new things from the store as possible. If it's something like a black yarn or a white yarn or a red, which I use in a lot of the things that I make, that's one thing, but as I mentioned in my Crafty Goals video, I'm trying to do as much from my ungodly large stash as physically possible. So there's one, just a regular granny square, and I lined the outside edge in black once I finished it. The other thing I have done is, I don't think I printed out this pattern, I think I just used it on the computer, but it is called the Granny Stripe Shawl. And mine, the way that I made it, it's more of a scarf than a shawl, but if I had tied on a second ball, it would have been bigger, and I just really wanted to use up one ball. So this is made with 1 Caron cake in the Spice Cake colorway. I got these at Michael's. They were on clearance for $5 a piece. And Caron cakes are 80% acrylic, 20% wool, and 200 grams, about 383 yards. So it's a pretty substantial ball of yarn. So I thought I could get a decent sized scarf out of it, and I actually have it folded and rolled up like this. But I haven't measured it, haven't blocked it, have no intentions of blocking it because it's a scarf. I mean, come on. So, as you can see, the stripes showed quite nicely. Let me find which side is the top side, because the way that this pattern is worked, and it is a free pattern, you make the chain as long as you need to, as long as it is a multiple of 3. Do a whole row of, was that doubles or half doubles? Whole row of double crochet, and then you just start doing your granny blocks like you normally would, and at every row you decrease on either end until about halfway through, and then you start decreasing 2 blocks on the end of each row. So eventually, if I had tied on another ball, it would have become more of a triangle, but as you can see, it just kind of swoops in on this side. And after I finished all of my rows, I went around the entire bottom edge with just a row of half double crochet to finish it off and give it a good color. But it is quite large. It is quite long. Hello, kitty cat. I see you looking at me. And this is just wrapping it around once. I like it, but I don't think I would wear it. As cool as it is, I do like the way that the stripes look. I like the size. I like that it's partly wool. So this will probably end up in my Etsy shop. But I do like it. It was an easy enough pattern. It is a free pattern. So I will link to it in the description box below the video, like I always do. So that is the only other thing that I have finished this week. Because this was the start of the lacy arches stole that I was working on. And I worked on that pattern for probably 5 or 6 nights, and I couldn't keep my place in the pattern, and I couldn't work on it during the day because anytime the boys interrupted me, I couldn't remember what stupid row I was on. So I'd have to stare through the pattern and count all the stitches in the row before it to figure out where I was, and it was just, I didn't like the way it was working. So I had about half a cake worth of work done on that shawl, and it just did not work the way that I wanted it to. So I frogged it all and used the whole thing here, with the exception of this is all that I had left. I played yarn chicken and I won! Woohoo! This is all that was left, just a couple yards off the end is all there was. So that is with my woolish scraps, and it's gonna stay there until I get something else. That's all I have finished for this week. The only other 2 things that I'm working on are I need to finish up Hunter's monster amigurumi, which I have started, and I actually need to sew on the legs. I don't know why I haven't yet. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. So Hunter drew a picture of a monster and asked me if I could make it into a stuffed animal for him. So if you can see, I'm not sure how well that'll focus. Yeah, I guess it's okay. This is the monster that Hunter drew. He actually asked me to do this for him before Christmas, and with the insanity of last-minute holiday makes that I hadn't planned to do, I didn't get to make it for him then. His birthday is in just under 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get this finished up for him, and I just really lost steam on a lot of things in the past few weeks. So this is the start of my yarny take on that monster for him. This is the body, which I learned waffle stitch to do the body, which I thought would be kind of cool. So it's very textured. It's going to be smallish, but it's going to be kid-size huggable. And I have the legs. They're just going to be attached on the bottom. Just kind of crocheted down and back up. And back up one more time, and then seamed around the edges. But the legs are just going to go on like this so that they can flop or it can sit. And then I'm going to make the arms. They kind of look like airplane wings. So I'm thinking of doing a front post, back post on that, so that it'll have the raised up texture like the lines that he drew. I think he'll really like that. And I have a lot of works that have been at rest for quite some time that once I finish this and the other thing that I'm working on, I think the best way for me to get through all of my stuff that's sitting back on the shelves is to be working on one old work in progress that is currently a work at rest, constantly fighting that war, you know, and to be working on a newer project whenever I get bored of that one, because let's be honest, giant projects like blankets, I get tired of them pretty quickly. Doesn't matter what style it is, it becomes no fun to me. About halfway through, I usually just throw my hands up and chuck it in a bag and say, the heck with it, forget about it. So the other thing that I'm working on is something that I'm kind of writing a recipe for, because it's not really going to be a set pattern per se. It's going to be more of a, this is how I put this together, insert your own measurements, change the stitches if you want to, change the yarn, weight, hook size. This is what you need to do. This is pretty much just about done, honestly. I've got to go through and do some stuff in the arms, but this is going to be a tank top. All I really have left to do is to finish some ribbing along the bottom and fill in some space up here in the armholes where I made it a little bit wider than I thought it was going to turn out. But I thought it would be better to make it a little bit bigger and then just have to add in rows and make it too small and have it be pretty much unfixable. So it has a racer back, like a normal tank top, and I wear tank tops like this all the time. I know that some people are all, squee, my bra straps will show. Wear a strapless bra. Or don't wear a bra. Or wear a tank top under it instead. Whatever works for you. I personally don't care if people can see the straps of my bra, because I am in fact wearing one. And as I said before, nipples are the devil. So if you're not wearing a bra, people are going to complain. If people see your bra straps, they might complain. You really can't win either way, so it's up to you to decide which is the lesser of two evils. Personally, bra straps it is. So this is what it looks like so far. It's gonna have a few more rows of edging here just to even it out, and a few more in here, because like I said, it comes down farther than I thought it would, but I'm gonna fill in this space so it'll be more here than here. But this is what we're looking at so far. As you can see, the colors are slightly different. Some of these colors, the lighter ones, didn't make a full stripe as it got bigger, but so far this is about a little under 2 balls, skeins of Red Heart Super Saver stripes, and this is the polo stripe colorway. So it is a work in progress. I'll probably be finishing it today, honestly. I just have a few more rows of ribbing on the bottom and then filling in this space here. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will get to see it then at some point today. And I am excited about that because I'm going to end up doing a second one just to make sure that my mathing worked and actually start off with a few less stitches in the space for the arm so I don't have to go back and shrink it post-creation. But I'm really liking it. I did it with an H hook, a 5mm hook, and it's pretty simple, and you could honestly make it for people of any size as long as you have their measurements. You could make it for a baby, you could make it for a toddler, you could make it for a child, you could make it for an adult, you could make it for somebody who's plus size. Doesn't matter. Hence it being more of a recipe than a pattern. So that is really all I have for yarny stuff for this week. But then I'm going to be adding on to the end of this, as I said, there's going to be a time lapse of me reorganizing stuff in the craft room. And with the exception of all of the books that I put up today, you will get to pretty much see how it is right now. So I wanted to say thank you to all of the returning subscribers for coming and checking back in. Welcome to everybody new to the channel. I hope that we can make you feel welcome here. I try to do my best to respond to people's comments. Sometimes it takes me a few days, but then I tend to binge batch respond and just go through everything from the past 3 or 4 days all at once. So your notifications might go nuts if you have notifications about your comments on other videos. Anyway, I'm going to call it here. So once again, thank you so much everybody for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.